What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the LMC podcast. I'm your host, Brian Nels, and I'm joined with Michael Wyban, Puke, and Jimmy Holly. What's going on, guys?
Good evening, gentlemen.
How's it
What's
going?
up?
So, we're filming this on the 17th of June. That means we've had,
Correct.
10 days to digest this past race?
Yes. I've forgotten all of it.
Forgotten all of it or want to forget all of it?
Maybe a little bit of both.
I
But,
think
Yeah,
listen,
I don't know. It's what we have video for.
Puke is, I think, absolutely the best driver we have if you count in like how apathetic he is about it. Like that's for sure. Like he just shows up, does what he does, and leaves. I don't
Yeah.
think Puke thinks about it 1 second after he pulls out of the parking lot. I really don't.
I think he does.
Yeah, I think about it on the 2.5 hour drive back to Pittsburgh. That's my thinking time. But yeah, I don't have the what is it? The autism for racing that everyone else has.
That's fair. That's fair.
As you can see by my lack of trophies behind me,
Oh,
the best I
Well,
can do is a Jeremy Clarkson head.
yeah.
The only trophy I have anywhere is somewhere on the wall over there, but it's my cone killer, so that's similarly good. So
The award of shame.
Yes.
So, Mike Wyban, you barely missed a podium. How big was the gap between you and Andrew?
I think in the end it ended up being about 500ths.
Oh,
Yeah, he just eked. So my morning runs. It was the first time I'd actually run this year. I missed the first event and everything. So, first runs of the year, morning runs. It was actually kind of interesting running against the second half group because, well, for one, it gave me a little bit of a confidence boost, seeing that I was able to, get in front of pack fairly quickly. But also, ton of great guys there, and always cheering me on. So that's always nice. But in the morning, I knew I put together a pretty decent run, but I knew there was a bunch of mistakes made and everything else like that. So I was half a second inch off of Andrew in the morning. And then in the afternoon, he made up that time. So he was half a second off me in the afternoon, but slightly better. So ended up overall just eking me out. But yeah, my afternoon run ended up being really good. Second fastest of the day, following you, Brian, of course.
that was a killer run, man.
Yeah, and I mean, it felt really good, but I still definitely, I understand where I lost time and still definitely felt I could have been faster. So um, I appreciate having you as this benchmark to, chase.
What about you, Jimmy? How did your race go?
I will tell you that I felt faster than I've ever felt before. I don't know. I kind of ended up. I ended up 22nd, I think 22nd or 23rd, something like that.
Yeah,
23.
23rd.
Yeah, and I know I was super close to like a whole group of guys and gals that in the positions up through the teens. But I felt really fast. I mean, because I think in my group, in the same group of Y bands, I think I finished fourth or fifth and third, maybe, in both groups, if that makes sense, in the morning and afternoon, which made me feel good because there was definitely some people in that group that I don't typically beat or I didn't beat last year, if that makes sense. And I felt like Y band, for instance, is a guy that never never looks at me competition wise, if that makes sense. But I felt like in those groups, like I put down some times early at least that made him have to like realize he's going too slow. He needs to go faster. You know what I mean? So I don't really know what the
Yeah,
change was.
Yeah,
you guys
you were killing it in the morning for sure, and afternoon runs too. Putting up some very good times. So
Yeah, I think I did better than I normally, would have. I wasn't off the pace as far, if that makes sense. I mean, still got a lot of room to go to catch a top 10, we'll say. But I was surprised with how well I felt. I really thought I'd get into the teens, and then I ended up in the middle of the pack. But we also have so many more drivers and stuff this year that I guess I'm doing better, even though I'm finishing the same, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
yeah, there's a ton of new drivers and a ton of very good new drivers. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
49 total entries.
yeah. Yeah, it works out well, man.
I
And there is
remember.
some of the new guys that are super fast, like that's for sure, or they're going to be. I'll guarantee you that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember watching I was announcing and I remember watching the screen and like the people in the first run group, they're more they're more your novice type. Like it, the field gets kind of split in the run groups. And you, Mike, and who else was it? You all were like battling it out in the top 3 for the whole uh each first session in the morning
Yeah,
and the
Colin.
afternoon. It was Colin.
Yeah,
Yeah, Colin was doing awesome.
yeah, he
Yeah.
was. Yeah, yeah. Because Colin was, hanging within like half a second of my time, and
Uh-huh.
obviously, apparently, my time was good enough to get me up to fourth overall. So he was doing
Yeah.
great too. Yeah, because usually I'm running like a second slower than you and Jonathan. Um, so this event was very nice for. It was a nice confidence boost to get back in and get back close to the top for sure.
I came in 14th for the day, and I think I was 13th for the morning runs, which I had predicted on your stream or
You
whatever
did.
you were recording. And I said, I bet I'll end up 13th. That's about where I go. And sure enough, the morning I did much better. I liked that. Uh, there was something about the way, even though we did a split course where like the morning was one direction, the evening was the opposite direction. I felt like the morning run was easier for me for whatever reason. So I did pretty good there. My best time was 38.3, and like all my other times were 39 or 40. So I managed to get a good run at some point. So uh, yeah, it was a good course. I'm trying to think. There was a couple tricky elements, some fast parts, and then really having to slam on the brakes. But there were some elements that if you did them correctly and you didn't hit any cones, they were very rewarding to get around them. So I like that a lot. And then our car, because I co-drive with Andrew Mercer, we had installed a new power steering pump. So the car had a new alignment, a new power steering pump, and it felt pretty good. So I was happy with the way it steered. It wasn't as heavy as previously. So I don't know if that helped or not, but I felt like it was pretty good. So
Yeah. So
uh,
so with the alignment, did you like up the camber or anything like that? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm too apathetic about racing to pay attention. So I don't remember. I don't
I
remember
do
anything.
know you guys fixed your sway bar and then you increased
Oh
your
yeah,
rake.
rake. That's right. We were doing gardening, and so yeah, I think the car wasn't raked forward enough. It was like flat or squatted in the back, and yeah, with the help of Jonathan, he did some work to it for us, and I don't know. I guess it helped. It certainly felt good to drive, and yeah, that's about what I remember. Yeah, the morning was good. Afternoons were difficult. So
Yeah, I felt like the morning course, um, the two the two back corners felt faster. They just they flowed really nice, felt fast. Um, but the afternoon course, I felt like just had a sort of a better flow overall when you got it right.
Mm.
You get it right
Yeah.
though, it. So
The course change I thought was really cool, where on the afternoon course, where it had two different lines for whichever lap you were on. When you were on lap one, you were kind
Mm.
of staying wide and then being patient, waiting to turn in. And then once you did turn in, you were set up for the rest of the course all the way to the carousel. And then the second time through, it was pretty much just cut to that cone on the right as soon as you can and beeline it for the finish. And I thought that was
Mm.
super fun having um, two different lines for the afternoon course. The morning course, it was more or less the same lines throughout. Uh, when we're talking about those back corners. Um,
Yeah. The
yeah, the bigger difference was on the second time through entering the back corners in the morning. Um, it was a very similar line to the uh, first time through, but it was a little tighter. So you had to actually push it out and push it a little bit wider and to maintain the speed through there. So
mhm.
there was definitely some choice, and I think this course really rewarded bravery because you had to really commit your speed and always catch just that tiny little bit of slide.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
It did require a lot of commitment.
Yeah, I found that I think on both courses the sort of little chicanes towards the finish lights um were difficult to like you could maintain full throttle, but you really didn't feel like you should be. At least I didn't. And so I found that challenging to just concentrate on like no, don't break, and try not to hit the timing like. But yeah, it was. I found that challenging to just commit to that speed.
Yeah, I did.
How
I
about
did.
you, Jimmy? Were you committed?
Yeah, listen, the morning course, like what Puke's talking about, man. I agree. Like the in chicane, like the first time I went through it, I'm like, well, no, I'm not breaking here, like ever. But on the afternoon,
yeah,
I never really got there. On the afternoon, like I got to a certain point of like I never braked, but I had to let out of the throttle because I couldn't trust it to get around the corner for sure. I never felt that full enough in the afternoon. Um, but yeah, the course, I mean, it was good. I employed some new ideas. Brian, really, me and you were talking the previous race about my, I guess, love to drive at cones, if that makes sense. And we talked a bit about how sometimes the shortest distance is not worth how bad it sets you up for the corner or the corner after, I guess, if that makes sense. So I worked real hard trying to set myself up for the next event instead of the cone I'm staring at, if that makes sense. And that seemed to make a big difference. And I think this course awarded that in a lot of the where the technical areas were. If you didn't get yourself set up right, you were just going to have to putt around through them. You know what I mean? So I think it worked out pretty well. Hey, I was just glad. I was just glad my first digit was the same as yours, Brian. That's what I mean. Like that's kind of what I felt. That's all I was trying to do.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, the course had a lot of moments like that where it was usually in autocross it's all late apex, and you're trying to set up for the next element. And with this specific course and I guess you could call them straightaways, pretty much if you're able to be on the gas for a long enough period of time,
Mm-hmm.
I'd call that like a straightaway where you don't even have to think about lifting. And this course had what, like, technically speaking, two of them, and it really made or broke your run. We're gonna analyze some video here later, and you'll see that maximizing the exits on those corners really is where the time was able to be picked up. Um, Another thing that I want to talk about is the Dino Day. Jimmy was there. You and Mike were not there.
I was not. No.
No, I didn't make it either.
Jimmy, why don't you share? Hey, Jimmy has an awesome result to give about his own car.
Yeah, so that is true. I've made some changes this year, exhaust intake kind of stuff. I think the intake did about nothing, but the exhaust definitely did. Jonathan had told me before. I mean, obviously, other than some I don't know crazy built craziness that people do on a stock essential car with bolt-ons, LMC legal stuff, I guess we'll say. The highest horsepower car that they've ever dynoed is Tim's at 116 horsepower. And now we have found out that the 87 car also makes 116 horsepower. So my car is, as far as 1.6s go, well, she's putting the power out there, buddy. 116 strong. And I think 98.
Woo-wee, that's a hot little motor.
Oh, buddy, she's revving up. She sounds good. So, but then the really interesting thing about the Dyno Day to me was that we found out that Brian not only has anti-lock brakes, but makes in Miata terms, he makes 1,800 horsepower apparently in this car. Okay, because he's what were you, Brian? 135 horsepower. Is that what it was? 135. Yeah, and then we tried some stuff to even make it worse, and he just kept making 135 horsepower. I don't know if he has a 3D printed hidden turbo or what it is in that thing, but we found out his car is now anti-lock brakes. It's too light, and it makes more horsepower than a
No.
61
It is not too light. It is not too light. I'll tell you that. It is within weight.
Okay.
I shouldn't have put I should have put 87 in or something before I went.
Yeah.
It's that V power that did it to me, man. That V power, 93.
Yeah. But what we really found out, I mean, as much as we love, we found out that if you really want an exhaust, you should Chinesium tin can weld one, because that apparently adds 10 horsepower to it. For some reason, I don't know why Brian has the best luck with the chankiest exhaust you've ever seen to give him, a fucking 100 horsepower. But
I think it
the
looks
other,
all right.
Yeah, okay. But the other NB2 there made what, Brian? What did the other one make? 134?
He made 133.
Yeah. So NB2s are just making power.
I have all my muffling is through straight through mufflers. They're like a sport muffler. It's not a glass pack. It has fiberglass in it that's probably burned out by now, but it's not. It's a sport muffler. Whereas he, I believe, has either a racing bead, or I think he has a cobalt system on his car. So it's actually going through a muffler, which I could see 2 horsepower through a muffler versus a straight through system. But for years, Jonathan preached horsepower doesn't matter in an autocross. You could have an extra 50 horsepower and you wouldn't see you'd see barely a time gain. And now I got 10 horsepower and it's like, oh, there's this huge, I understand the key has been put into the lock.
Yeah, your extra 9 horsepower makes all the difference.
I know, exactly. That's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's exactly what the dad will show too when you show that later, huh?
That's exactly what?
What was your torque number?
What the dad is going to show too.
My torque number was, I think, 123 foot-pounds.
Yeah, and to me, that's if you're going to call it a difference, that's where it is, because that was the problem with the NCs, to be honest, right? Is the torque is where it's at. But the truth is, you've also driven my car, and you were not nearly as
The way
slow
it
as
makes
me. So
torque, the way it makes torque is below 3500. I think it was 3500 RPM. Is when the VVT thing actuates, and on an autocross, you're typically not below 3500. But that's my excuse for that.
yeah, whatever.
I
To your car.
mean,
That's all I'm saying.
we'll still, yeah, we'll still tell you now. You're taking advantage of all your advantages. So
This is true. This is true.
No, listen. I told you Saturday, man. I think here's the honest truth. I think because you're this last event, you were far enough ahead to kind of make it funny in a way. I think it's possible setup wise, power wise, anti lock brake wise. You know, I mean, I don't know. You have the best car, and it's also. But the problem is not the car. The problem is you have the best car, and you're the best driver. And when you combine those two, man, it's rough because I think if I put you in my car for the next event or for 1 year, let's say, for you to learn how to drive that car, I think you're right back where you are now. So what's the what's it matter? Because I mean, like knockout round, for instance, last year, which is what we got coming up. Um, Joe didn't seem to care how powerful your car was. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of is what it is, and he's
Yeah,
on 1.6 or was then. So
even
Joe
what
won
last
it.
event last year, he was just off your time in the last final event.
I
So
recall Joe was pretty close. But I will say I was not able to match Joe's time at the knockout round. I don't believe I couldn't go nearly as fast as Joe was able to.
though at the knockout round, you probably had far more spent tires than Joe did. I know it's fairly early in the season, but yeah, Joe goes very gentle on his tires. So
I have been taking tires a lot more seriously this year. They come off after every race. They sit in the garage. So
Mm-hmm.
currently, I don't know the exact number of runs, but I think I did the math, and we should be able to make it through, I think, event 5, and the tires would be dead. So, or heat cycled out, if you want to call it. The RT660s, they say 80 to 100 runs is about when they're heat cycled out. The compound of the rubber will run out, or it'll chemically change uh, around 80 to 100 runs to the point where it still has tread on the tire. Tire looks like it's fine, but the performance just isn't there.
well, and I mean, at least early in the season this year, it's been cooler. So some of your runs have they've heat cycled the tires, but they haven't gotten up probably above temp like they normally would, on hotter events, hotter days.
I did notice at the end of this last event, at the end of the day, like when me and Charles were doing our very last runs, the tires did start to feel a little bit greasy, and I was like, "Yeah, let's just take it easy." Or I'm just gonna take it easy, Charles. You're fine to keep going, but I'm just gonna take it easy because they're getting too hot, and at that point we were basically out of water. So
Yeah, I debated bringing water to the last event, and I mean, I don't think I actually ever needed it. In the morning, my tires never quite reached proper temp. In the afternoon, they kind of just did, so I didn't really need to cool them down any between runs. They had enough time to cool down as it was.
alrighty, so I think it was Jimmy who was saying something about how does the horsepower show on a graph, or does it show on a graph when we're talking about during the runs, right?
Well, it sounds like you have a graph.
that's
I
yeah.
do.
I'm graph happy. Where are we at?
So I put there's this tool that you could buy. It costs a decent amount of money, but I think it's worth it. It's called Solo Storm. Basically, you get an old phone and a GPS tracker, and you can record your runs, and it'll lay them on the track. And then if your buddies have Solo Storm, you can link your runs together, and you can see, the different lines you took and how fast you were through sections. It has telemetry data. It has, speed, all this stuff. It's super cool. And what I did was I overlaid Jonathan and my first run videos of the day, and then we both had Solo Storm runs, so I plopped in the Solo Storm run as well. So we're gonna watch that. I'm gonna pull this up here, and we're gonna do a little bit of a run analysis, and maybe hopefully people can learn some things from it. So I have it pulled up on my screen. I'm at the very beginning of the video. This is so that Jonathan can link it up in post. um, and I'm just gonna click play. I'll say now, and then that's when it's gonna start. We'll watch it one way through, and then we'll go back and I'll read the times, and we'll talk about different parts of the course here. So I'm gonna hit start now. So I'm the yellow mark, Jonathan is the red mark. And there's a lot of information on the screen. It's a lot more helpful when we stop it. All right. So, first thing I'm going to go to at 0.894 seconds. You could see we took a little bit of a different line. I went a little bit wider than Jonathan did. I was trying to, I guess, by going wider, I'm trying to remember what my thought was behind it. I think it was using up the maximum space before the start box. Um, I mean, if you see the yellow line is definitely a little longer within the start box, so you could say I had a little more of a run. But what it did do is down the road I had a straighter path, so um, that was less energy spent trying to drive around the cones, and I was just driving through them like a straight line. We'll go ahead here a little bit. I'm now at 3.671. For this corner, we can look at the graph on the right, and we can see there's a little bit of a lift slash brake moment. Actually, we can look at that peak just before the dip here, the first peak of the graph. You can see, I think Jonathan might have lifted a little early or something to go around this first cone. But I was able to carry a little bit more speed through there. So there was a little bit of time gained, but not really. We're going to jump ahead a little bit to 6.809. Okay, here our line setup is a lot different. I kind of swing the car right because in my mind I'm like, okay, I'm going to prepare for this corner so I can, take some more speed. I can carry more speed if I take a wider angle. Like I don't have to pinch myself off as much. Um, and you can see Jonathan's arrow kind of points towards the apex of the corner a little bit more. And he makes the corner a little bit shorter for himself. Um, and you can see the gap right now is only half a tenth. So we're pretty even through the first section. And Jonathan gets to the cone first, um, but when it comes to the exit, my car. So now we're at 9.481. When it comes to the exit, I carry a lot more speed past the apex. So on this corner exit here, I'm at 11.702. This corner exit was crucial. If you could carry the speed out as much as possible out to that cone wall, like you're almost hitting that thing. This corner was crucial on this exit here. We let it play a little bit. Basically the same lines. I get just a little bit of a gain out of that corner. Actually, you know what? I'll just talk about the cars in reference to the cones. That should be easier. So I'm at 16.039. And you could see I gained a bit out of that corner, um, that back corner. Diving into the uh, carousel, we took different lines. Jonathan pinched this off a lot more than I did. You can see my I guess uh, the way I approached this corner was I did a lot of trail braking so I could carry the speed deep through the corner and keep my momentum up. So I was carrying a bit more speed than Jonathan. You could see on the graph here at the bottom of that, at the base of that peak, my speed is just, a mile or two an hour above Jonathan's at the base of it. Um, and this was kind of wash out wide, be patient, and wait for your turn in point because this turn in point was probably one of the most crucial corners of the course because there was so much time to be gained if you got a good run out of this corner. We're at the pointer cone at about the same time. We're at 20.697. We're at the pointer cone about the same time. And this really shows how much of a run I get on him. I'm going to let it play. And that's basically like a tenth and a half to 2/10 out of that corner, which is a lot of time when it comes to
Well, yeah,
autocross.
I mean, if you look at the trace, you've given Jonathan some hair on his trace. Your yellow trace is out there, but if you look at where your point of max turn on that exit is, it's way farther back than where Jonathan's are. So you're on full throttle, well ahead of where he's able to get on full throttle.
Right.
So that gives you, yeah, that so much better run out of the corner. And then on top of that, since you did push it all the way out and bled off the speed, pushing out towards the wall, you actually didn't even get a lower min speed to do that. So
Right. Yeah. My minimum speed was not, it was a mile an hour above Jonathan's. This data is so cool.
yeah, it's very cool.
Our lines are pretty similar through the center section coming down from the carousel, but when we come into this high speed left hander. This corner was such a blast, man. You're hauling after that carousel, and it's like, holy crap, here we go. And I was my reference was the cone on the left. I would hit the brakes just enough to slow the speed of the car and pitch the nose in, and then I was off the brakes and back onto the gas, kind of feathering it as the rear end was getting unstable because there was a little bit of dust in this corner at the beginning of the day. It cleared off the more we ran, um, but this corner was a blast, man.
Yeah,
It seemed like a lot of people were getting a little loose coming around this corner.
it was a very fun corner. I definitely enjoyed going as fast as you can, pushing out to the wall, and but in the morning runs, looking at my video, I did not push nearly as far out to the wall as I could have, um, which is part of the reason why I was slower in the morning than in the afternoon. So
Hmm. So from our line selection here, I'm at 26,642. Um, you could see that I was quite a bit further to the left, or I guess I was quite a bit closer to the cone wall than Jonathan was. There's two trains of thought here. There, one train, two schools of thought. One school says cut distance, and I can totally agree with that. That is super helpful in the world of autocross. Cutting distance, reducing the amount of distance you have to go reduces the time spent traveling that distance. So that makes sense. But there's another school that says, well, I would like a good exit out of this corner. Um, let's see what our time gap is before this corner. So currently it says 0.253. We're going to get to the base of the corner, and it's so now I'm at 29.311, and it says 0.334. So like not that much of a difference. What I said 293 before, or was it
yeah,
253?
I said 293, but you were gaining time getting to that corner too. You end up having around a mile an hour advantage at the entry point, or leading into the entry.
Right. And you can see through this corner as well, I hit my minimum speed at the apex. And then Jonathan's minimum speed keeps falling down till he's a little bit past the apex. And then we both get on throttle. And funny enough, are the curves downward to brake for the next corner basically line up on the point. Um, since I was carrying a higher speed, I broke a little earlier than he did for the second corner, but it lined up with about where he was. Now, where he made the mistake was not carrying enough speed on the exit. Um, I let the car wash out a bit wider than he did. You can see it on the right with the cone wall. I'm at 32,247 currently. Um, this cone wall on the right, I'm probably like half a car's width further over. Um, and I was planted on the gas. Um, and this exit really made a difference. Most of the time that I had ahead of him was gained through this finish slalom. Uh, it seemed like he was a little iffy on the throttle through it. I don't know if that was car instability where the car was getting loose, or it was um, like he was not confident with the course yet. But the way I go about, running the courses, I try to go as flat out as long as I can, and if I if I end up hitting something, then I know that I need to back down. Um, rather than being afraid of hitting a cone and not getting to the fullest potential of the car. So I honestly made a mistake previous in the day. I wanted to take this line a little shallower so that I could set up better for the finish slalom, but I found that I could let the car wash out really wide and still stay pinned on the gas and make it around everything just fine. So I just kept doing that for the rest of the day and it was working out. Um,
Yeah, that definitely seemed that was something that did kind of surprise me between yours and Jonathan's time and graph here. Is he set up better for that first first slalom cone by going in tight, or by not pushing out to the wall as much, but you still never lose your advantage. Like it never slows down. So I do know he was saying that he feels like his car doesn't seem quite as stable as yours looked in video. So I think he may be making some adjustments to improve
yes,
that.
Jonathan is gardening. he
Yes.
he is putting his rake down. He's reducing his rake in his car. Um, I went over there and I was like, "Here, measure my car." I was trying to help him out, and he measured it, and apparently my car has like no rake, which makes, I guess, I mean, sorry, it makes it more stable going through the corners because you don't have as high of a roll center. Um, but he's gonna give it a shot. He's gonna reduce his rake. He's gonna cut his rake in half, and Pew can vouch for how he had too little rake before, and now he has a lot more rake, and the car rotates a lot more. It
Yeah.
feels less stable in the corners, though.
Yeah, I'm actually it's super curious. So I with my GoPro, I have GPS on it, so I get speed data from my
Uh huh.
GoPro, and I'm just kind of watching here to
Yeah, the
see what.
Garmin thing or whatever, right?
Yeah, so yeah, it's wild, man. So like, the funniest thing is in the big corners, you guys were right under 30 miles an hour, 28, 29 miles an hour, and I'm like 27, 28 in some of them. But dude, I'd never hit 50 in that entire course. Like, you know what I mean? You guys hit it all the time. So it's interesting to see like how much speed you carry leads to you at a much higher speed. I mean, you hit 55 miles an hour. My highest speed in that run is 49 anywhere. So it's like that's enough speed to make a difference for sure in a 30-second course.
Yeah, that is an interesting data point.
Yeah. So hey, all you slow guys that watch this, we're not going fast enough. That's what that means. Okay. That's just that simple. Drive faster.
um, so me and Jonathan talked about the data. Um, we haven't we never like directly compared it together. We talked about it. It's a cool tool, and we'll definitely be using it and pairing us together more in the future. Um, so yeah, I would recommend it. It's a blast, and if you get one yourself, you can compare your GPS runs to mine or Jonathan's runs. Um, so yeah, it's super cool.
So, out of
Um,
curiosity, Brian, just not that you work for Solo Storm, right? But I kind of had this conversation with Tim because I did some research on that previously, and one of the things they don't explain away well that I'm now hearing is not an issue is Solo Storm. I know has the ability to be like OBD2, so you get all kinds of gas pedal data and all that kind of stuff. How does it work with a car? Well, for us guys that are 90s don't have an 1.6 doesn't even have one. So how is it purely off GPS of what?
so mine is not connected through the OBD2.
So how does it work?
All that data that we got, it has a gyroscope on the inside of it, and it can actually like sense the lateral G's and the what is it, forward and backwards, like brake and acceleration G forces. All of that data that you saw was just collected from that little box that sits on the back of my trunk.
Okay.
There's nothing plugged into the OBD2, which I think is super awesome because I can literally plop it on anything. Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to a race this weekend, and I'm co-driving an SSC car. I'm just gonna plop that thing on the hood on the roof and run it. So it's super easy. If you want to have, I think so. The early models of Miata don't have brake pressure or brake percentages. I think you have to put something in there to get that, but you could see the guys running at nationals. They'll have the little bars at the bottom of their screens that'll say like throttle and brake and like RPM or something. Um, so the throttle and stuff is helpful. You could kind of get there by just listening to the video,
Right.
because you can hear, you could tell a difference between wide open and partial throttle. Now you can't see the exact percentage, but I mean, for me, I feel like it's close enough.
Yeah, well, if it's close enough for you, it's light years ahead of where I'm at. So I'll take it. I mean, hey,
No,
you know
I'm good.
what?
I don't
What?
have, I don't
What?
have
What do
fancy
you?
things.
How do you? How do you? How did you guys feel? I mean, Brian, obviously, me and you have a biased opinion, but for Puke, who I think has a great sense of humor, that is as dry as a desert, right? And that's which is good. And then Y-Band is obviously a different personality. How do you guys like the announcing? How do you guys like how it's going? How did you guys like it at the last event? Did you even pay attention to it? That would maybe be a thing too.
I have one critique is that during the announcing, the music playing at the same time was kind of distracting from the announcing, but it
Oh, okay.
also added in the background. But no, I like it. You guys, you're witty and you make some good jokes, so it adds something to the autocross because I've never been to another autocross where anybody did announcing. So yeah, I like Brian making fun of Tim's cheater car.
That's right.
Jim, I think I heard some of yours because you were doing it during my race
Yeah.
time, so I picked up a few. But yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it makes it entertaining.
Uh-huh. So, knockout round.
Yeah.
Mike had a bad time at the knockout round last
So,
year.
so I both love and loathe the knockout round because the last time I placed fourth was in a knockout round, but the last knockout round I placed like 15th.
Uh-huh.
So hopefully this year I will do better. Maybe I just need to sandbag again and like get into the back group, so I get a few more practice runs before I have to actually face before I start facing Jonathan and you.
But if you sandbag and then you accidentally hit a cone, you could get knocked out.
Yes, you have more chances to get yourself knocked out. That is for sure.
And learning from last year, tires overheating is a thing. So if you do all those runs, you could have some tire temperature issues when it comes to the end.
Yeah, I mean, the way I need to approach the knockout round this year is the way I approached this last event, where I focused a lot less on the times and just looking at my run, going, where can I improve? How can I go a little faster? And then once you get to that point, it's just keep executing that over and over again until hopefully win.
It was awesome last year to see Joe Murphy win it.
Did he win or was he second?
Yep. No, he won.
Joe Murphy won the knockout round last year.
Okay.
Beat the NC.
And
I
that
think
was
he
awesome.
I think he was second the first year of the knockout
Jimmy
round.
would remember that. He's a 1-6 guy.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, I had to root. Listen, I got to root for him, man. If he's in a 1-6, He's got a much better shot than I do, even though it does immediately make me have zero excuses of why I'm so slow. But it is what it is. Yeah, I will tell you, man. My goals, and I'm gonna tell you, Mike, so you know, don't be coming down that loser bracket because I guarantee you, I end up in that bracket. We're gonna try and make it back out of that bracket this year. Okay. I don't expect to make it much farther than that, but that puts me middle of the pack and or slightly above. So that's where we're trying to be. That's my goal is to make it back out of the
Heck
loser
yeah,
round.
man.
So we'll see. But yeah, it's a good time. I like the event. It's for sure. I mean, I think it's a fun time. So and if I get knocked out early, I'll just announce the rest of the day. I guess it'll be fine. So that's what I did last year.
Yeah, the knockout round certainly the knockout round certainly sets up for a really good audience cheering and everything else like that. I mean, I'm sorry to say, Brian, if you get knocked out, there's going to be a lot of cheering. So,
Oh, there was last year. I already know what it feels like.
Yes.
Oh
I will.
my gosh!
I will
Yep.
make sure to personally make as much fun of you as possible. Yes. Yeah, 100%.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. What do we think? What do we think, guys? Who do we think is the last guys running in the knockout round this year?
Oh, I don't know.
Andrew
I mean,
Renninger is a threat. What's the saying? A threat to be reckoned with?
a force
Is that
to
right?
be reckoned with.
A
Force
force
to
to
be
be reckoned with. He's a
Yes.
threat too, but I think he is going to be quite the challenger this year.
Yeah, he kind of snuck up last year, and then this year out of the gates, starting strong. So,
Yeah, I mean he has a better
yeah,
car this
he's
year. He did
definitely
well
somebody
last
who
year.
can. Yeah,
Yeah, that'll be interesting. And by the
and
way, on a side note, in case he watches this, big cheers to Rachel for smoking Dan at the last event.
That's right, dude. That's
oh
right.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. I didn't realize it until she said something, but at the end of my YouTube video, you see him in the background go, "Ah, dang it."
Yeah,
It was hilarious. When she pointed it out, I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
yeah. I
I think
actually
it was on
rooted
like
so
one of her
hard.
last runs too.
Actually she had a rerun. That's what did it. She had a rerun, and that's where it went up at. Yeah,
Oh.
I didn't realize Dan was slightly ahead of me, so I cheered so hard for her to beat Dan that she actually ended up beating me and Dan on that last run. So, careful what you wish for, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think Anton was the one who was cheerleading for me, and keep telling me like, "Oh, you're gonna be top 5. You're gonna be top 5. I know it." I'm like, I don't know, and sure enough,
You did it,
you can't
man.
doubt him, I guess.
That's right.
It's the Ukraine train.
That's
Yep.
right. Ukraine train knows. He knows.
I have no idea. I'm last year I didn't do great. I remember getting knocked out, I think, in the morning. But I don't really remember per se. I just hope that it's a course that I can learn in time to not fail miserably early. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be like you, Brian, Mike, Andrew, Jonathan, other Andrew, one of you guys. One of the people that's good at driving will probably do good. That's how I predict. But yeah, I just hope it's the course where I can not make any huge mistakes and make it towards the afternoon. Be nice.
No, I actually want to say the other person who could be interesting on this, just because based upon his time at the last event, was Forrest Walsh. I think he had the 3rd fastest time in the afternoon, and it was like,
Yeah.
hundredths off of my time. So he was very quick too.
Yes, he was. Forrest was only 7 hundredths. We'll call it. He was only 800ths slower than your fastest time in the afternoon. I'm looking forward for Charles, man. He's getting more and more used to this car. You guys are in trouble.
Well, it's finally a car that's like properly low enough that he can actually sit in and see out the windshield instead of sitting over the windshield. So
And he said he hated the way the NC drove. He just could not get it to rotate the way that he wanted it to.
you, on the other hand,
That
loved
thing
the
was a
NC.
rocket ship, man. Oh,
I was so fast in a straight line.
it was. It was.
I'll
Um,
tell you my
so
biggest, like, what I hope for in the knockout round, myself excluded, I don't even care. I hope so much, and I love you, Brian. I really do. But I hope so much that Brian gets knocked out and then has to watch Charles race his car. I hope so bad that happens that I can't help myself. Like, I want Brian to just smoke some cones and then have to sit back and watch Charles go like super deep. That's what I hope for.
uh,
We'll
oh
see,
my
but Brian
god.
still has to cheer for Charles because that's the co-driver championship. So or
Ooh,
constructors, championship. So
Yeah, watching Brian
I
have to root
forgot
for
that was
someone else is worth it.
I'm rooting for all of you guys, man. What are you talking about?
oh yeah, we all get better if somebody gets better, right?
That's right. Yeah, but Brian can't get any better. We don't want him
All
better.
right.
Jesus, good enough already.
But he makes the rest of us better.
Let's see
You
something.
know, you always golf up to the quality of the person you're golfing with. So we're all trying to drive to the quality that Brian drives. So
he's inspirational for the rest of us.
yep. One day I'm gonna grow up and be 10 years younger or 20 years younger and drive a car fast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So there's a new segment of the show I want to try out, and I made a post in
Oh
the
boy.
Facebook group. We have a Discord. It's just the LMC Discord, and I created a text channel called Podcast Questions, where we answer questions from people who submit them. Today, so I submitted the Facebook post. I believe it was like last night or something. And today we got two questions, one from Jonathan and one from a guy named the Gouda Goblin. No idea who that is. um, so the first question from Jonathan says, "Does spraying tires with water really help?" What do you guys think?
It certainly makes you feel better.
It adds the minerals to the tires it needs.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen,
Tires need a drink too.
I tell you, well, generally at LMC events, they get all the water they can handle from Mother Nature. But I think the answer would be if you and Charles are in the same run group together, maybe, right? Because you guys are out there pushing the car. I mean, you're definitely pushing the car as hard as anybody out there. And if it's a smaller run group, then I'm sure you're heating those tires to a degree that's not ideal. For me, no. I don't think any reason whatsoever for me to be spraying tires. I don't, no. So I think it depends. I think unless you're at the highest level of grip and friction on the courses we have on the cars as light as they are, probably not. There's a serious answer to the question.
So
I mean, nobody expected that from me, I know, but
yeah, in my experience, actually knockout round first year, I did start spraying tires, and it did seem to help. It does help. Um, but you also have to, be getting the tires up to temp in the first place to begin with. So,
Right. Yeah. You don't want to be spraying them if you're running in a car by yourself and there's like 15 minutes between runs on a cool day. Like spraying them would be totally opposite of what you would want to do.
mm-hmm.
So the conditions where you want to spray them is usually when you're doing runs back to back, pretty frequent in between each other, and you're doing hard push runs. If you're just kind of putzing around the track, it might not be. Um, say you got, say you're bringing along a buddy who's new to autocross and he's, getting used to it still, and he's putzing around the track. There's no real need to spray if he's not putting heat into the tires. Um, and usually, the lower the tread wear rating, the more spraying them will do because the more sensitive they are to heat. Um, when you get up into the higher tread wears, the less it really matters. But we're not running high tread wear at autocross. We're in like a 200 tread wear tire, so um, spraying definitely makes a difference. I've been able to go out there and feel spraying. There was one person I was driving with, and they had their driving style caused the car to push a lot, and they were absolutely roaching the front tires. And on the last run, I got the tire sprayer full of ice, shook it around like I was mixing a cocktail, and I sprayed that cocktail all over the tires. And holy crap, the car felt like a completely different model because of how much more uh, stickier the tires were because they weren't overheated. And it also depends on the tire brand. Some compounds like to run super hot, and the hotter they get, the faster they get. Whereas other tires, they are super sensitive to heat, and if they get even just a little hot, they get greasy and you lose a bunch of grip. So it's dependent on the tire, who you're running with, how frequently you're running with, temperature of the day, all that stuff. So,
Yep.
yeah. And then I got another question from the Gouda Goblin. He says, okay, if you know there's a car in the series that is below the weight threshold, how would you add that weight back to the car without the owner knowing? Let's say the car needs 30 pounds to be added.
Brian, did you ask this question? That's all I'm asking. You leave Tim alone.
What?
Okay?
This is the Gouda Goblin saying this. Unless you're the Gouda Goblin, Jimmy.
No, it's not me. It's not me. That name is way too suggestive for me to use it. Yeah, I can't. How would you add the weight?
Without the owner knowing.
Well, you can fill their gas tank.
That's fair.
But they probably notice that.
They would notice because the gauge would read hot.
Okay, then pull the fuse for that gauge.
But now the gauge is off.
Well, I'm out of ideas.
I think first of all, you'd have to get to the car at a point when the owner is not, I guess, near it or looking at it. So you'd probably want to go to Leroy Engineering at probably like maybe 2 in the afternoon, and find that blue car, that blue 84 car out front. And I think you could probably go buy like a 30-pound plate, and just slide that passenger seat forward and whoop right under the seat, and then slide it back. And I think maybe if you wrap like a blanket around it or something to keep it strapped down or keep it from moving around. And then you got to make sure to put that seat back and be quiet and you could peer in that front window too to see if there's a old scraggly guy sitting at a computer. And if he's not there, then you know you're good to go.
So the other way, if you really want to help them out, you can also help them by adjusting their weight balance and put it in the front air dam. That's going to probably require some zip ties, but you put a nice bit of weight out in front of the tires should help them out a lot.
I feel like you guys have thought about this way too much.
You could put you could get a pretty large one and just like stick it in front of the radiator, and then the car would overheat, and then I mean it wouldn't even be able to show up at that point. But I think that would be more of
spray paint a plate of steel to look like a radiator grill and just put it right out in front.
I feel like maybe the easier solution is I'll tell Tim that I need some coaching and I really only trust his knowledge, and I'll just start doing ride-alongs with him every single run.
There you go. There you go. And make him feel bad about
that adds 30 with an extra zero.
No. Alrighty, so those are our 2 questions. Hopefully we get some more questions for the next show. Everyone's got,
and it's totally fine if they're completely obnoxious and out of nowhere.
Yes, I agree. Everyone's got a whole how long until the next race?
25th of July, I think, right?
3-4 weeks.
So yeah, 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah. So you guys got plenty of time to ask some questions. Well, I think that's it. You guys ready to wrap this up?
Sure, it's been fun.
Yes, it has been. So the next race is on the 25th.
One of those days in July.
Yep.
One of the days late in July.
Late July.
Usually on a weekend.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, 25th. Or correct.
The 25th. All right. So I guess we'll see you guys at the next one.
See you
All right,
in a couple weeks.